People think night fishing is peaceful, quiet, safe. That's what I thought too. I've been fishing on this lake for years. Same spot, same routine. You walk a few meters into the water, cast your line, stand still. You can always see the shore lights behind you. That night the fog rolled in fast. Not slowly, like someone pulled a curtain. First I ignored it. Fog is normal near water. Then I heard it. A sound that didn't belong there. First it was soft, almost like the wind. Then I realized it wasn't wind. It sounded like a child's voice. Not screaming, not laughing, crying. Low, broken, somewhere out on the water. I froze. Lakes don't echo like that. I told myself it had to be imagination, lack of sleep, cold air. But then the sound moved. Not closer, farther. As if whatever was making it wanted me to follow. I took one step forward, then another. The fog thickened instantly, and that's when I noticed something wrong. I turned around, and I couldn't see the shore anymore. I checked my watch out of habit. 3 minutes had passed. That made no sense. I'd only taken a few steps. I was still standing in shallow water. I could feel the mud under my boots. I called out. Nothing loud. Just my voice steady. No answer. Then the crying started again. Closer this time. Not behind me. Not in front. Somewhere to my left. I turned my head slowly. The fog wasn't drifting like fog usually does. It wasn't moving with the wind. Felt fixed. Like walls. I tried to focus on the water surface to orient myself. That's when I noticed the ripples. They weren't spreading outward. They were moving toward me. Slow. Controlled. As if something beneath the water was adjusting its position. My chest tightened. I stepped back instinctively. My foot didn't touch bottom. Just for a second. But that was enough. I wasn't where I thought I was anymore. I hadn't gone deeper. But the lake had. The crying stopped. Silence fell so hard it felt physical. Then I heard breathing. Not splashing. Not water. Breathing. Right at the edge of hearing. And that's when a thought hit me cold and sharp. I wasn't lost. I was being kept. I stopped moving. The breathing stopped with me. That's when I understood the rule. The lake wasn't reacting to sound. It was reacting to decision. Every time I chose a direction, the fog shifted just enough to erase it. I lifted my oar slowly, barely breaking the surface. The water didn't ripple outward. It folded inward, like skin tightening. My boat drifted without current. No wind. No pull. Just allowance. I looked down. The reflection staring back at me was wrong. Not distorted, delayed. My head tilted. The reflection followed a moment too late. I felt a deep, irrational certainty. If I moved too fast, it wouldn't follow at all. The crying returned. Different now. Not panicked. Not scared. Tired. Like something that had been calling for a very long time and finally noticed it was heard. The fog thinned for half a second. I saw the shore. Close. 5, maybe 6 meters away. Too close for how long I'd been drifting. Relief hit me hard, and immediately felt like a mistake. The water beneath the boat grew colder. Not night cold. Deep cold. The kind that doesn't belong near the surface. And then I realized the shore wasn't getting closer. It was staying exactly where it was. No matter how the boat moved, the lake wasn't hiding the way out. It was showing me one it wasn't going to give back. The fog wasn't just thick anymore. It felt deliberate. I noticed it when I tried to turn back. I was sure the shore was behind me. I remembered the angle of the trees, the faint reflection of a broken dock, the place where the water became shallow and muddy near the reeds. I had only drifted a few meters out. I knew that. I had checked the depth with my oar. I had seen the bottom. When I turned the boat around, the lake showed me something else. The fog opened slightly, just enough to reveal land. A shoreline. Trees. Familiars chaps. Relief hit me first. My chest loosened. My body leaned forward before my mind could catch up. I started paddling toward it, slow and steady, careful not to tip the boat. But something felt off. The reflection in the water didn't match what I was seeing above it. The trees on the surface were stretched, elongated, like shadows pulled too far. The shoreline rippled even though there was no wind, no current. I stopped paddling. The boat kept moving. Not fast, not aggressively, just drifting, as if the water itself had decided where I needed to go. I dipped the oar in again, deeper this time. No bottom. That made no sense. I had been fishing this lake for years. I knew where it dropped, where it stayed shallow, where the old rocks sat beneath the surface. This spot should have been knee-deep water at most. The oar disappeared into blackness. That was when I realized the fog wasn't uniform anymore. It was thinner ahead of me, where the shore was, and thicker behind me where I had come from. As if the lake wanted me facing only one direction. I turned my head, slowly. Behind me there was nothing.
No shore.
No stars.
No horizon.
Just fog layered on fog, swallowing distance. My phone buzzed in my pocket. That shouldn't have happened. There was no signal out here. Never had been. I pulled it out with stiff fingers.
No notifications.
No missed calls. Just the screen lighting up on its own, then dimming again. The time was wrong. It said I had been out here for over 2 hours. I checked my watch. Less than 30 minutes had passed. I knew that because my coffee was still warm in the thermos. I knew that because my body hadn't gone numb yet. I knew that because panic hadn't fully set in. Not until now. The sound came again. Not crying. Not voices. Something closer to breathing. It moved across the water in slow pulses, like the lake itself was exhaling. Each sound came from a different direction. Left, right, behind, beneath, never directly ahead. The shore in front of me looked clearer now. I could see individual branches, a gap between trees that looked like a path, a place to pull the boat in. Too perfect. I lifted the oar and pushed sideways, trying to rotate the boat away from it. The resistance was immediate. The water thickened around the blade, heavy, almost sticky. The boat shuddered but didn't turn. My arms strained as if I were pushing against something solid rather than liquid. Then the fog near the shore shifted. For just a second, the reflection lagged behind the image above it. And in that delay, I saw the truth. The shoreline wasn't land. It was a circle. A wide, pale ring beneath the surface, barely visible through the water. Like something massive lying just under the lake, breathing slowly, waiting. The fog closed in again before I could process it. The boat stopped moving, completely still. The breathing sound faded, replaced by silence so deep it rang in my ears. That was when I understood something worse than being lost. The lake wasn't trying to drown me. It was deciding whether I belonged to it. I don't remember deciding to paddle again. My body moved before my thoughts did. Like some instinct older than fear finally woke up. I didn't aim for the false shore. I didn't fight the water either. I turned the boat just enough to face where I felt the darkness was deepest. I paddled into the fog. Each stroke felt wrong, as if I was disturbing something that preferred stillness. The water resisted, then released, then pulled again, not violently, just persistently, like a hand testing my grip. The breathing returned, closer now. Not around me, inside the boat. I froze. The sound wasn't coming from the water or the fog. It came from below the bench where my tackle box sat. Slow, uneven breaths, wet and careful, like whatever was making them didn't want to be noticed. I didn't look down. I don't know how long I stayed like that. Holding the oar in the air, muscles burning, heart hammering so hard I thought it would echo across the lake. I focused on the smallest details. The creak of the wood, the faint slap of water against the hull, the smell of damp metal and old fish. The breathing stopped. In its place I felt weight. The boat sank lower by a few centimeters. Not enough to panic, but enough to notice. Enough to know something had settled. The fog began to thin. Not all at once. Slowly, reluctantly, shapes returned. The sky, the stars, the outline of trees far to my left. My real shore. The one that didn't reflect wrong, didn't ripple when it shouldn't. I paddled again. This time the water let me. I didn't feel resistance anymore. No pulling. No guiding. Just cold, honest depth beneath me. The fog peeled away like a curtain being drawn back, and suddenly I was close, closer than I should have been after drifting so long. The boat scraped mud. I didn't stop moving until I was ankle deep in the shallows, dragging it onto land, slipping in the wet grass, breathing like I'd been underwater too long. Only when I was safely on shore did I look back. The lake was calm. No fog. No sound. No sign of anything unusual. Just water. I laughed then. A short, broken sound. Relief. Exhaustion. The kind of laugh you make when your body finally accepts that you're alive. I packed up fast. Too fast. I didn't check my gear properly. I didn't count my lures or untangle lines. I just wanted to leave. It wasn't until I got home that I noticed something missing. One of my boots. The left one. I remember taking it off at the shore. I remember stepping barefoot into the grass to pull the boat in. I remember thinking I'd grab it in a second. I never did. The next morning I drove back. I told myself I just wanted my boot. That I needed closure. That what happened had a rational explanation. Fog. Fatigue, imagination. The lake looked normal in daylight. Peaceful. Shallow near the edge. I waded in, careful, scanning the mud. I found the boot. It was standing upright. Not floating. Not sunk. Standing. And inside it, pressed deep into the damp lining, was a child-sized footprint. Long, narrow, toes stretched as if something had tried to walk out of it. I left the boot there. I haven't fished at night since. Sometimes, when I drive past the lake after sunset, I see fog forming over the surface even on clear nights. It gathers low, patient, as if waiting for someone who almost belonged to it. And every time I pass, I feel the same thought settle quietly in my chest. The lake didn't lose me. It let me go.